there's all sorts of GI issues in people 35 years and younger. And to me, the commonality is all the foods we're eating, the ultra processed foods with all the preservatives and chemicals, etc. Hey everybody, thanks for joining the video, and I'm glad you're here. Today I want to talk to you about what I'm eating as I'm training for a 50-mile ultra marathon, and I've got a colostomy bag. So I want to talk to you about what I'm eating, the physical foods that I'm eating, but also how I pull it off logistically and how I stay disciplined day after day. I'm not perfect, but over the past couple years, I've certainly learned a lot that's helped me, and hopefully maybe you'll take something away from it today as well. So why is this important to me? So back in 2019, when I was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis, they really didn't know what caused ulcerative colitis. They said maybe it's stress, maybe it's your diet, maybe it's partly hereditary. But here's the thing, after all those years of being sick, seeing the data that GI issues, Crohn's, ulcerative colitis, colon cancer, there's all sorts of GI issues in people 35 years and younger. And to me, the commonality is all the foods we're eating, the ultra processed foods with all the preservatives and chemicals, etc. So I'm not saying that's the only thing that is causing the GI issues. I think there's something to be said about the stress that we live under. It's a different type of stress, etc. But to me, the commonality is the food that we're putting in our bodies. So this has become very important to me in my family, but also it's important because I have kids and I don't want them to grow up having the same issues that I have. And the foods we eat and the foods that are easy to consume in our world aren't getting any healthier. If anything, they're just getting worse. Go look at the ingredients in Pop-Tarts 20 years ago versus what they are today. Things are just getting worse and worse. So guys, food is medicine. What we put in our body matters, and it's ultimately going to affect our mood, our health, but it's also going to affect our kids and how they grow up. Welcome to the Daily Battle, episode 3, where we fight for a full life. Now, when I say full life, I'm not discussing a life just filled with sunshine and roses and nothing but great times and prosperity and riches, because we know following Jesus, we're not promised that. When I think about the Lord and the enemy, they work in similar but opposite ways. And they kind of touch on this in Matthew 7 when they're talking about the wide path and the narrow path, right? See, the idea of Satan, our enemy, is he wants to take us to destruction and to death, right? He's here to steal, kill, and destroy. But on that road to death, there seem to be little bursts of life, little bursts of fun, right? Sin can be fun and enticing, right? But the Lord, he is taking us on this narrow path to life. But on this path, there feels like there's little deaths, right? We have to die to ourselves, right? In Luke 9, it says we have to, if we want to be a Jesus disciple, we have to deny ourselves, take up our cross, and follow me. So guys, what I'm trying to say here is that it's not always easy to have a full life. It's not easy to pursue Jesus because we have to continue to deny ourselves. But it is worth it because that's what leads to ultimate life. But here's my day. I usually wake up around 4:30, 4:45, and before my run, I don't like to consume a lot because I don't want a lot on my stomach. So I'll usually take 1 or 2 scoops of G1M Sport, which is this is carbohydrates, a little bit of electrolytes, and then I'll also have a blueberry sourdough scone that my wife has made. Delicious, but that's just enough energy for my run, but it's also not too much on my stomach. When I get back from my run, usually around 6:30 or 7 in the morning, I will then have my breakfast, which is about a half a cup of old-fashioned oats. When it gets out of the microwave, I'll throw a little bit of milk in there, some honey on top, and some organic blueberries. Now, I love me some honey. It's great, healthy carbs, and it just helps my sweet tooth since I don't eat a lot of other sugars. My wife jokes that I have too much honey, but I love it. Usually around 9, so shortly into my work day, I will then eat about 2 chicken thighs that I've smoked on my Traeger, and then I will also have a piece of sourdough bread and then a banana. I don't have any bananas right now at home, but that's usually my 9 o'clock meal. People laugh at me because at breakfast time, I'm eating chicken and sourdough bread with a banana, but this is what works for me. And then at lunchtime around noon, I will have white rice, about 6 ounces of ground beef with some shredded cheese on top. And depending on the day, I might throw in some hot sauce. Either way, it's great and consistent. And then around 2:30 in the afternoon, I'll have another scoop of whey protein. If I didn't mention it, I have whey protein with my breakfast to get some protein in. So I have 2 protein shakes every day, one with breakfast and then one at 2:30 in the afternoon. With the 2:30 in the afternoon one, I will have some homemade applesauce. This is my new thing. My wife has the sourdough, and I just started making homemade applesauce. So delicious, very easy. The kids love to help make it, and it's good. You know, it's clean, and it doesn't have all the chemicals and preservatives. So that's what I eat throughout the workday. And then at 5 o'clock, I'm eating whatever dinner my wife makes and whatever the kids want. So this is what I eat on a typical day. Now let's talk about how I pull it off consistently. Doing this every day, being disciplined and consistent is important. In the book Atomic Habits, the author James Clear talks about how the most disciplined people don't necessarily have more discipline. They just set up their surroundings, they set up their atmosphere, the environment to be more conducive, to be easier to make the right decision. So what do? Every night before I go to bed, I usually write in my kind of planner what I want the day to look like, but I also set out all my food and prepare so that I have no excuse to not make my lunch, to do the wrong thing. It's easy. I make it easy to do the right thing. So here's what the counter looks like every night before I walk upstairs. So if you're looking with me, I've already set out the bowl. I've got the spoon. I've got the measuring cup for my oats with the honey. I've also got the G1M Sport, the shaker bottle, and then my running water bottle with my electrolytes. I walk down the stairs and that's what I'm looking at. So I get this stuff I need, it's out, there's no excuses, it's super easy. So that's the morning. Now I gotta go to work, right? And you gotta be consistent at work. So I get some laughs at work in the elevator for this, but this is how I pull this off. Let's talk about it. So first and foremost, I'm gonna move this vacuum. I bought a Yeti cooler. I think this is the 18 something or another, but I bought this Yeti cooler because I want to be able to take my food to stay fresh on the weekends. I pack this thing up on the weekends. Even if we're not doing much, I'll pack this up just so there's no excuse. If we go somewhere, I grab my cooler. This is my lunchbox. You can see it's a pretty big thing, right? But this is what I got to do. So in it, I've got my cooler, and then I just toss in my food for the day. And then I've got my shaker bottle in here. And then I put all my protein powders, my 2 whey protein powders, my creatine, some electrolytes in here. This has just got different little compartments that come off. So you pour your protein powder in and you're off. So all my powders are in here. I would usually throw a banana in here. My applesauce is in here. I would throw a couple waters in there, etc. This thing is full when I take it in to work. And I know I look goofy. I got my backpack on and I take my cooler up in the elevator. But here's the thing. I don't care what other people think, and neither should you. This is what works for me so I can live a healthy life. There's a sacrifice. There's a price to be paid to be great. And I'm not saying I'm gonna be great by any means, but consistency leads to greatness. And for me, this might look funny. I might get laughs, but however, I love it because I can be consistent 7 days a week, on the weekends, during the week, because every day this thing's packed and I take it with me and I can control what I'm eating and when I'm eating. So guys, no excuses. Let's get it done. I've figured it out of necessity, right? I've had to do this, but I would challenge you, go do it for yourself and you'll be shocked by the benefits.